that radio off. Right then, so just try to block the light a little bit here. So it's Sunday evening, and I've been on this all weekend long. So no joke, non-stop. So I've been working on putting these patches in here, and I know it looks like I'm sewing Frankenstein back together, but I wanted to challenge myself and see if I could do this. And I'll tell you this, it's not easy. It is not easy at all making these patch panels, patch pieces, I guess, because you have to contour them, fit them, contour them, fit them, contour them, fit them, on and on and on. So the body hammers has been going all weekend, the grinder's been going all weekend, the cutoff wheel's been going on all weekend, and just on and on and on. So I'm at a stopping point for the weekend. I got to go back out to work tomorrow, of course, but yeah, I'm getting there. So what is that? Crow? Anyway, so getting there with it. Thankfully, I've got 2 more patches to make on that side over there. That should go pretty fast, and then I have to address the ends here. But wow. So I've got, there's just the way this floor is contoured back here, and the way it's put together, there's just no way without an extreme amount of work that you can just replicate it. So I didn't try to. I just got it where it would, resemble what it is, what it was, and so that's good. As long as it's solid and not rusted, that's the main thing. It's just tacked in there. So I got to go back, and once I get all these things put in, I'm going to go back and finish up all my welds and grind and a little bit of body filler. It'll look pretty good, I think. It'll look passable for a trunk. So in my book, it sure will. So this garage is a disaster. I'm not even going to clean it up because I just got to be right back at it again. So anyway, we're getting there. This is one of these just not very pleasant things to have to do on this stuff, but the experience has been valuable, and I'm definitely more enthusiastic about getting a plasma cutter at some point. So, all right, well, we'll continue. Okay then, so it has been about 2 weekends worth of non-stop work to get all these panels made and put in, and they're in nice and solid. I made all these by hand. Now they do make these, like I said, they do make these trunk pieces, but it's just there wasn't enough of this trunk that was rotted out to make it worth the time to take the whole thing out. So I wanted to get the practice doing this anyway because I never have done it. So this welding job is going to be like somebody I heard say on a video a day or two ago said it looks like a $90. It looks like a Harbor Freight 90 amp special. Well, that's basically what it is. I didn't get that from Harbor Freight, and it's not 90 amps, but it is definitely an amateur job, and that's all it is. So I wanted to do this, like I said, to get the experience and to learn how to do this stuff and learn from mistakes I made. And also hopefully inspire people that have not ever gotten a welder but want to get one to go ahead and do it, because I would never look back from it. My welds are getting better and better. I'm not near good enough now that I can run beads on sheet metal. And I don't know many people who can, because sheet metal burns and warps and does all kinds of crazy things when you put a lot of heat to it. You just can't really do that anyway, but this is a lot of tacks. So I've spent an enormous amount of time tacking all this together. Well, I spent an enormous amount of time getting the patterns done and transferred to sheet metal, and then shaping all this. These were flat pieces of sheet metal, all of them. All I had was a couple flat things of 22 gauge metal. So all these weird spaces there and all that around there, I had to make those by hand, cut them and make them, and it was not easy. So anyway, again, like I said, I know these are rough looking welds. That's all they are, and that's all they're ever going to be. This car was a practice session. So anyway, there's a lot of wiggly looking stuff right here. I had this metal was getting thin right here and it's pitted, but it's not rotted. It's just kind of thinner than it normally would be, and in various places. And I had just got to the point where I didn't want to cut out any more metal, so I had to make what I had work. So I went kind of light on the welds there, and plus that metal being a little bit rusty, it didn't want to take the weld very well anyway. That's another thing I learned too is, you listen to your welder, what your arc is doing, and you can tell when you've got a good weld and when you don't have a good weld. Like a good weld is just, like if you ever hear them at the exhaust shop or something like that, they're welding and it goes bzzz, bzzz, bzzz. That's a good weld. When you have one that's just popping, like going pop, pop, or like that, that's not a good weld. So, various obstacles, but you'll also notice it's kind of humorous now looking at it, but I was not confident in my abilities to butt weld some of this stuff, so I switched over from butt welding this stuff, which I did, which means the panel goes right up against the panel it's next to. It just fits in like a puzzle piece. Went from that into doing some lap weld. So, and then got back over here and just transferred back to some butt welds on some of that, and then all this is butt welded in. And over there, it was kind of rough because I couldn't get my grinder in there very well to clean up some of those welds. I had to just do the best I can with them. There's some voids I got to go back. I've had to do a lot of that, go back with a welder and go back, which I'm never going to get all of them. We're going to body work this. We're going to do some filler with it to smooth it out and catch the voids if there are any left. I got one little spot over there which I'm going to have to come back to. It's got a little bit of a gap right there where I didn't do a very good job of making my pattern template. And I also had to go back here and I had to put in patches on each side of this because it was rotted out. It didn't look as bad as it was, but it was. That corner right there, this is really just kind of a temporary repair right here. It's not even, I'm just gonna seal it down with some sealer, body caulk probably along there, because this metal here is quite compromised, and it's got a little bit more of a hole there than it should have and all that, and the back was kind of so it's really got some issues which I have arrested, I guess you could say. Now I haven't corrected them necessarily, but I've arrested them. I had to come back here, and this is where that bumper brace was. It was jammed in there where that bolt wouldn't come out. So I had to drill that bolt out. I ended up having to cut out this whole piece down here and get in there. I had to put a piece in right here that you can't see, which is kind of makes a curve inside there. And then that piece that you just saw right there comes out to the end right here. But it's kind of, if things start to deteriorate again in there, then I can get in there, just break the sealer loose, get in there and address it, because that was going to be, I had this whole thing out, and that was going to be a lot of work to cutting metal out to get into that. I just didn't want to do that. So, like I said, again, see, I got a void right there, it looks like. So I've got to chase some more welds. I'm not, this is what it is. So don't judge. This one was a little better. My shape was better on it, getting it in, but you can see I've got this metal, this panel back here is kind of weird. It's kind of wavy, because if I just run the grinder along here, then I have a high spot here and a high spot here, and this weld is kind of in the low spot. So, it's just, again, I had to bend all this by hand, which doesn't make it good. It just means that's what I had to do with it. But we're going to clean this up and seal it and all that. So whether it's kind of a 90 amp special job on it or not, it's going to last. So, and last it will. So I'm happy with it. Like I said, this car's just, this is a two-pronged approach here. We're trying to make the car get it in better shape, and then learn what to do, what not to do. So I've learned from it. So I still have a couple places that I showed you before that have to be addressed. That one, there's more than a couple actually. Well, there's something going on there. I got to put a patch in right there. And I have to come clean this up because this is the gasket sealing surface for this tail light, believe it or not. And it's got a couple rusty spots in it. This one here's got it too. Worse than that one did, but that has to be fixed and smooth, because if you don't, then you got water leaking in there again, and it's just going to start the whole cycle over. So we don't want that. And this is an issue that has to be fixed. Sorry for the lighting, but I've already cut that out. But the outside's got problems too. Actually, what it is, a lot of this car back here, the way this thing's put together is it's got like 2 layers of metal. Like this deal here this is replaced. This is new here. And so, really shouldn't even show you this, because I know somebody's going to think, yeah, well, it's awful. But this is actually 2 layers, like I said, and it had seam sealer between them. So put together, I guess, inside, inner, I don't know what the purpose was, but that's the way they did it. And so this is the same way. This is actually 2 pieces of metal, which had seam sealer between them. And you can see what kind of number that the seam sealer did on it. So we'll have to repair this. So I've actually got, I'm not going to make it in the spring, but I've actually got another, I think we may do the final phase of this thing in the fall when the temperature cools down and the bows go away. I won't talk much about it now, but you can probably figure out what I'm driving at, so to speak. So I'll show you what I used in this. I just used the cheapest tools anybody has ever used on body work, and it's not, where there not being a compressor in here, I don't have access to a plasma cutter or a DA or anything like that. Unfortunately, that's coming. But what I did use, I used this little 3-inch cutoff wheel from Harbor Freight. I'm not a sponsor of my stuff here, I'm just where I got it from. And that thing's okay, but it makes the worst cuts anything. That's what puts those gaps in there that I couldn't line up, because I'm trying to cut with this thing and it's awful. Sucks. And then I got my flapper wheel, which is on just a 4-inch side angle grinder, which that thing works good. One thing I don't like about it is this on-off switch. I don't know, they could have put that thing anywhere else, but it's in the worst spot. You're always hitting it and turning the thing off. So it's okay. And this is my Dremel, which I've been using to file some stuff down with, and I tried to use it to make some more precise cuts with, but in my opinion, Dremel doesn't have any place in stuff like this, because it's not strong enough, and those little wheels are super expensive and they don't last. That's my little light, because I have to have a light right on this thing, when my eyesight being what it is. I have to have the light just shine right on this, or I can't see what I'm doing. So I use that thing to help me with that, which it did all right. And I went back and got this body hammer kit, which it turned out to be an excellent investment, because I used those hammers to shape the stuff. It helped a lot with that. But you got to remember something. I mean, again, this is amateur, and when the factory built this old car, this stuff is all stamped. So there wasn't any making any curves by hand like this. They just didn't do it. So what I'm doing is tedious and time consuming, and it's, according to some people, not even necessary. But I'm pretty proud of some of this. I mean, I got that thing shaped in to match that, and got that joint. This wasn't easy. This was hell doing this, because this thing's there's a joint here, there's metal over metal, and then you got that channel place right there, which I don't even know why that's there, I guess for strength, like this thing. All this serves to do, that I can tell, is just hold water. But over here, I had to make a transition, which it's hard to see because this is so reflective, because I've been grinding the crap out of this thing. But like I said, I got voids to go back and fix, I know that. But so I tried a couple different approaches with this, and finally I got it where I could just get it joined. I bent a lip down and a lip up and kind of contoured it and put it in. Because I got so mad, man, I mean, I threw stuff in here. I was mad. Ooh, trying to do this, because it just wouldn't work, man. I mean, this crap's hard to do. I ain't gonna lie to you. Doing butt welds is hard if you ain't never done it before, and making all these silly contours, man. But I'm glad I did it. But I'm glad it's over. I'm done. I've run these grinders nonstop. I've run that bench grinder nonstop. Oh man, I've picked. Sorry to be gross. I've picked metal out of my nose for days on end. So anyway, so now I'm gonna clean up this. Well, I got to vacuum this trunk out. It's got a whole bunch of metal in it, and I'm sure the car in there's got a bunch of metal too. I should have been more picky about that, covered it up, but we'll fix it. But I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to grind a little bit tonight on this rust, and then I think I'm going to, I don't know what time it is, but I'm back at work this week, of course. It's a work week, so I think I'm going to maybe call it at that. I may put on some Pour 15 tonight. May just do that. So anyway, I hope everybody's been doing pretty good with this corona stuff going around. I don't know if it's overblown or not. Some people say it's nothing and it's overblown. And then everybody else says that it's awful and we need to be prepared. So I'm not normally reactionary, but I'm kind of taking precautions. I don't go to town unless I have to. Only go to work if I have to. Otherwise, I self isolate here at home, which is sure not a problem for me. I like self. As a matter of fact, that's every weekend for me is self isolating. I don't know what the difference is. And yes, I do have toilet paper, and I've been in the stores, and the stores are cleaned out. It's Armageddon, I guess. I think it's coming. So, but anyway, hope everybody hangs in there. So, again, I hope nobody's going to laugh at me too bad on this, but we'll see how it looks after I get everything done. But thank you for watching, and I think I'm going to end this one here. It's getting kind of long with a lot of segments in it, so I'm going to come back and show you the trunk when I'm done with it. May take you through the steps of it if I feel like it, or I may not. I don't know yet. I don't know how interesting that is, but anyway, I got to get cracking with this, so thanks for watching all this, and I'll see you. Hey guys, well, it's another day, and we're going to continue with this Plymouth. So anyway, what's going on is that I've got the gas tank back in. I've done all my touching up under there. I've just done some painting and things, and got the trunk done as far as it's going to be done. Let me get that out of the way. Sorry. So sorry about this sun here. Let's see if I can kind of a little bit. So anyway, just painted this thing up, just spray bombed it, and reran the wires and put the filler back in, put a new filler seal back in. I had to do some extra sealing on that. I'm not sure if it's because the floor is just a little bit uneven or what, but that seal is nice, but it's not made like the old ones. The old ones has a big piece of metal running around the perimeter of it to kind of help it conform where you need it to. You can kind of bend it. And that one's got a little bit in it. It doesn't have like the original. It's a nice piece, but so that's okay. You know, any other time I'd probably complain about it, but it's just what it is. Right now, I'll be glad to have the thing. So, and so this is kind of a strange appearance here. This is where I've undercoated this bottom of the trunk heavily. So I thought, you know, when I painted it with the car paint, it just didn't, that texture just didn't look right, you know, as far as the effect of it. So I decided to just leave it black because, again, it's like I've said several times, you're not going to see this unless you just open the thing up and dig down to it, so where the spare is. So I still have to get, I've got a spare tire sitting out here for it that goes in it, and I don't have a jack. I don't think I have a jack. I don't know where that went, but the jack is supposed to be over there in the handle and all that. And then the hold down for the spare tire goes in that right there. So I think I have that. I'm not sure. I have to go looking for it. I don't remember seeing it. I think it was all missing out of this car. So this car is old enough that it has a bumper jack. That's all it ever used. So I'll track all that down and get that put in a little while. But it's also got to have a spare tire board for it that sits over the spare tires, this piece of wood. And I think you can get those still. I think they make, like I said, I think they make just about everything for these cars. So I do have the trunk mat. I've already ordered that and had it several months ago. So that's good. And I'm not going to worry about this trunk seal right now unless it just starts pouring water in. So I'm going to monitor that and have to do the taillights. So anyway, we got that to do. But in the meantime, I've got this finished up with the gas tank. I resealed put the new seal and retainer ring on that gas tank. It had the aftermarket retainer ring for the fuel sending unit, which is too thin, and it let it leak fuel past the seal. Figure that one out. It's a new tank and everything. So I just took the opportunity to spruce it up and spruce up under the car. Now, this color scheme, it looks nice, but this is not how the original color scheme would have been. They left a lot of stuff natural on this car. So this car actually would have been body color under here, and it would have had natural steel straps and natural steel gas tank. So, you know, it looks a lot snazzier than it originally did. At least I think it does. But come under here with me. Turn my light over here on. Don't point it at that when you turn it on, do me. So, anyway, we're back under the back here. I'll tell you what, sometimes I feel like trouble lights, work lights like this, are about the most useless thing ever. They're so hard to get the light where you want it. But anyway, just put this all back together and cleaned up that little green thing. That's the jumper between the fuel line of the car and the sending unit. So I got that cleaned up and sanded it where it needed to be sanded to make contact, put the wire back on and all that. The retainer ring this is what I'm talking about, the retainer ring, this thing that you turn in there and it locks in. So the aftermarket ones, I think I did a video clip, I might put it in here if I still got it, but the aftermarket ones are a percentage thinner than the original. I didn't know that until somebody clued me into it. And so, yep, sure enough, so it let water, wish this thing ran on water. It let gas drip down here and it leaked when it got about half or 2/3 full. So anyway, that's that. So that's where we're at. And I'm glad of this because I'm gonna do just a few other little things up here. I deal with those two spots, and I'll do that, and then I'm going to do some rust proofing with the fluid film under there, since all that's painted up now, and then finally move forward. That's what I'm looking forward to. Can't wait. So I still got to make this board back here too. I forgot all about that, and the headliner's not done all the way. You guys have been asking me about this headliner video. So I'll do one. So far this headliner has turned out okay, but it's not turned out as good as I would have hoped. But, oh well, we'll do one if you want to see it. But I won't claim to be good at it. Not yet. But I'm going to finish this up and I'm going to wipe those floors down. And we're going to start putting some carpet in, I think. Ooh.